There is a crop that breaks every rule of modern farming. It outperforms potatoes in poor soil. It survives frosts that kill entire potato fields. Once you plant it, you never buy seed again. It replants itself, generation after generation. For thousands of years, it fed civilizations at altitudes where nothing else would grow. Then we buried it. We did not stop growing it because it failed. We stopped growing it because big agriculture could not control it. A crop that propagates without permission, that feeds without cost, and that thrives in chaos cannot be patented. And what cannot be patented cannot be sold. This is the story of the tuber that survived empires, outlasted colonialism, and that still waits in the margins. In the 1530s, Spanish conquistadors climbed into the high Andes, gasping for breath. At 13,000 feet, European crops died. The Quechua grew fields of impossible abundance. Among the crops was a tuber they called oca. It grew at 14,000 feet in soils too thin for wheat. Pink tubers, yellow, red, orange, apomur, deep purple. Garcilaso de la Vega recorded what conquistadors could not explain. Mountain people harvested more food per acre than Spanish farms in perfect conditions. Archaeological evidence later proved oca cultivation stretched back 8,000 years. The Inca engineered terraces around oca. It survived frosts that killed other crops. When droughts arrived, its deep roots found water. The genius was storage. Families spread tubers on frozen ground at night. During the day, they trampled them barefoot, squeezing out moisture. After freeze-thaw cycles, the tubers dried into kaya, shelf-stable for years. The Spanish loaded ships with oca and potatoes. Both sailed to Europe. Only one would be chosen. Oca propagated through fragments left in soil. Harvest and small tubers broke off underground. They waited. Next spring, they sprouted. One planting fed families forever. No seed purchases, no dependency, no control. By the 1840s, OCA had reached Victorian England and France. Agricultural societies ran trials. In poor soil, OCA produced 8 tons per acre, while potatoes yielded 6. French journals called it the new salvation crop. Seed catalogs listed 6 varieties by 1850. Victorian gardeners praised the flavor, nutty when roasted, with a lemony brightness that potatoes lacked. Chemists in the 1860s found 15 to 30 milligrams of vitamin C per 100 grams in OCA. Potatoes contained 8 milligrams per 100 grams. Sailors still died of scurvy when potatoes spoiled. Nobody promoted it. Oca survived -5 degrees Celsius, while potatoes died at -2 degrees Celsius. In Scotland, where frosts destroyed crops, oca offered insurance. New Zealand colonists brought oca in the 1860s. The Maori adopted it immediately, growing it in marginal hill country. It required almost nothing. By 1880, small farms across 3 continents grew oca, in Brittany, in rural Scotland, and on the North Island of New Zealand. The plant's self-propagation meant freedom. Potato farmers had to set aside seed tubers, capital they could not eat or sell. Oca had no such constraint. Harvest everything, and fragments left behind became next year's crop. Studies a century later confirmed it. Oca used 40% less water than potatoes. By 1890, oca should have been everywhere. Instead, it vanished. In the 1880s, French journals called oca the future. By 1895, 10 varieties were listed. Then the fall began. The potato industry was consolidating. After Ireland's famine, authorities rebuilt cultivation around certified seed programs. The system created dependency. Farmers bought seed annually. Oca could not fit. The tubers were irregular, some thumb-sized, others fist-sized. Potatoes could be graded. Oca defied categories. Worse, oca had no dormancy. Potatoes sat in warehouses for months. Oca sprouted within weeks. Seed companies needed seed. Their business model required farmers to purchase annually. Oca broke the cycle. Plant once, harvest forever. Between 1900 and 1930, Potato yields doubled through breeding investment. Oka received nothing, no research funding, no breeding programs. By 1910, extension services stopped recommending it. Potato harvesters lost half the oka crop. The machines could not detect irregular tubers. Hand harvesting worked, but hand harvesting did not scale. Seed catalogs dropped oka by 1920. The crop that outproduced potatoes had lost to systems that demanded control above all else. The real problem was simpler. Oka did not need seed companies. Between 1900 and 1940, industrial agriculture consolidated around dependency. Seed companies bred potato varieties and sold certified seed annually. The system generated perpetual revenue. Oka destroyed it. Drop 3 tubers, harvest 30. Next year, harvest 300. No purchases, no contracts. Chemical companies saw the same problem. Potatoes required fertilizers, fungicides, pesticides. Oka required none. Blight that destroyed Ireland could not touch oka. Corporate agriculture sold solutions to problems. Oka had no problems requiring purchased solutions. Universities received funding from corporations expecting returns. Potato research promised licensable varieties. Oka research promised nothing. Improve OCA, and farmers shared tubers freely. No one captured value. Crops that persist without profit are dangerous. They prove abundance does not require industrial systems. Oka was not primitive. It was independent. And independence threatened everything. Seed catalogs completed erasure by 1940. A crop generating no perpetual sales had no place in systems built on perpetual sales. Farmers who still grew oaks did so quietly, in gardens, on margins. But in the Andes, where conquistadors first found oka, it never left. In the Andes, while Europe forgot, oka kept families alive. Spanish colonial systems extracted everything. The economy prioritized export crops. Oka was not profitable enough to extract. It grew on slopes too steep, at altitudes too high. Indigenous families kept it for survival. In 1877, severe frost struck. Potato flowers froze. Harvests failed across Peru and Bolivia. Oka survived. Villages with oka lost half their food. Villages without lost everything. Between 1960 and 1980, Peru and Bolivia convulsed through land reforms and coups. Markets disappeared. Fertilizer supplies vanished. Potato cultivation required stability. Oka required nothing. A grandmother in Bolivia in 1975 planted tubers from the previous harvest. No purchases, no inputs. The crop grew. Her family ate. Researchers in the 1990s found villages growing 8 to 12 oka varieties. Pink for early harvest, yellow for storage, red for high altitudes. A farmer in Peru told researchers a simple truth. Potato needs fertilizer. We cannot afford. Oka just grows. Women were knowledge keepers. Grandmothers taught granddaughters which varieties to plant where. During the 1980s debt crisis, Peru's economy imploded. Highland communities barely noticed. They grew what they ate. Oka survived 8,000 years, not because anyone promoted it, because it would not die. In the 1990s, researchers finally studied what had never left. The International Potato Center cataloged 53 distinct oka landraces from Andean villages. Nutritional analysis confirmed ancient knowledge. Oka contained 15 to 30 milligrams of vitamin C per 100 grams. Potatoes averaged 8 milligrams of vitamin C per 100 grams. Climate trials in the 2000s planted oka alongside potatoes. Oka survived -8 degrees Celsius. Potatoes died at -2 degrees Celsius. Water efficiency shocked agronomists. Oka required 40% less water. In drought simulations, potato yields collapsed after 2 weeks. Oka remained viable after 4 weeks. Oka roots improved soil structure. Clay loosened and sand held moisture. Trials expanded to New Zealand, Scotland, and Oregon. In poor soils, oka thrived. Scottish stations ran trials starting in 2003. Oka in acidic soil yielded 6 tons per acre. Potatoes yielded 4 tons per acre. In drought years, potatoes collapsed to 2 tons per acre. Oka maintained 5 tons per acre. Climate models projected increasing droughts and frosts. Stable conditions industrial potatoes required were ending. Oka had evolved in chaos. Oka survived 8,000 years of extremes. Genetic studies found unusual resilience. Industrial potatoes bred for uniformity lacked redundancy, and they collapsed under stress. By 2010, research concluded what indigenous farmers demonstrated through millennia. Oka was adapted to conditions becoming more common. Science vindicated communities that refused abandonment. But vindication meant nothing without infrastructure. In the 2010s, permaculture advocates rediscovered OCA. Heirloom companies began offering tubers. Baker Creek listed 3 varieties, and Fedco offered 2. Home gardeners reported success. Oka grew easily, and the flavor surpassed potatoes. Gardeners shared tubers. Small farms attempted commercial production. In Oregon, a farmer planted 2 acres in 2015. Hand harvesting took 3 weeks, and farmers' markets sold out. Demand existed. But scaling failed. Machine harvesters lost half the crop. Hand harvesting 20 acres was not viable. Storage remained critical. Oka lasted 3 months. Potatoes lasted 8 months. Oka spoiled too quickly. Without extended storage, Oka could not enter supply chains. Industrial breeding never materialized. Universities received no funding. By 2020, Oka appeared in farmers' markets across continents in small quantities at high prices. It thrived in gardens. It failed in fields where machines demanded conformity. The pattern from 1900 repeated exactly. Oka worked at small scale. Industrial agriculture measured differently, with mechanized harvest, extended storage, and uniform appearance. Oka failed every industrial metrics. It survives in margins, in gardens where harvest is immediate, and in communities valuing independence over efficiency. It thrives in gardens. It fails in systems. The OCA teaches what empires want buried. Amaranth was banned by conquistadors. Quinoa nearly vanished before profit made it industrial. Each indigenous crop enabling sovereignty faced erasure, not because they failed, but because they succeeded without chains. Crops that self-propagate cannot generate seed sales. Crops requiring no inputs cannot support chemical industries. Industrial agriculture demands dependency. Oka offers independence. Corporate systems require seed purchased annually, fertilizers applied on schedule, and pesticides sold preventatively. The system does not sell food, it sells perpetual consumption cycles. Oka cannot be patented. Ancient land races remain in the commons. Anyone can grow it. No mechanism captures value. What cannot be owned cannot be sold. Climate change is coming. Droughts will intensify, and frosts will arrive unpredictably. Industrial crops were bred for stability that no longer exists. Those conditions are ending. Oka was born in chaos. For 8,000 years, Oka survived by adapting to extremes. It stores energy underground where drought cannot reach. It tolerates cold that kills industrial varieties. The crop designed for chaos waits in the margins. Andean terraces, New Zealand gardens, Oregon homesteads. Knowledge survives in grandmothers teaching granddaughters. We did not lose Oka, we simply forgot it. Forgetting is not final. The knowledge lives in the soil. When systems fail under climate chaos, Oka will be ready. It has been waiting underground for 4 centuries, for hands willing to plant. Abundance was always here, free. If this archive revealed something to you, subscribe to Nature Archives and hit the bell. Every share preserves what they tried to erase.